Today on Film Riot, we're taking this shot and turning it into this. Because the magic of cinema.
Hey Josh, can you come to the studio and get a light out of the light closet for me real quick?
You just got it yourself.
Flash What the hell, Justin?
I'm sorry, I overheard you talking about the flash effect shot.
How does that even make any sense?
It does, I made a graphic for it and everything.
Flash effect!
The flash effect that we're trying out today isn't the super speed effect you might be thinking. We wanted to try our hand at this shot from the trailer. It's a compelling shot with a ton of useful techniques, and we wanted to do it, so we did it. We'll do super speed soon though, because we want to do that too, so we will. And that shot from the trailer is a peak trailer shot moment. Often when on the set of a bigger film, you'll hear them say things like, that one's for the trailer, or let's get one for the trailer. When you're making a bigger film like this, that really is a thought. I mean, it's a thought with most movies, making sure you get shots that grab the viewer and puts butts in seats for the marketing. And also, they're just really cool. So to recreate this, we first shot Justin against a green screen, and here we had him act in slow motion while also shooting at a slightly higher speed to get this ultra high speed feel in the end, similar to ideas we've shown in the past like this one. That one was shot in 2011, so, go easy with the judgment, okay?
Thou shalt not judge our 12-year-old effect, or thou shalt be smoted by a bushel of velociraptor. First Film Riot. After this episode.
Are we cutting away to random stuff too much?
Who is?
We are.
Are we?
That's what I'm asking you.
Who?
Communication is key.
So this shot. I realize we're like 2 minutes in and haven't actually started, so sorry about that. Back on track. So Justin is acting out, screaming in slow motion, and we had the camera shifting to create this motion and use the flashlights on our phones for the light of the electricity, including switching one on partway through the shot for us to sync up with the assets later. And yes, we have expensive gear that we could have used, but the iPhone worked fine, so f that shit.
F you, light.
So now we jump into post and drop the footage into a new comp inside of After Effects, and then right click, track and stabilize track camera. We didn't use any markers on our green screen, but because Justin and Emily are pretty static throughout the shot, we can use a tracked point on them to create a null and camera. We'll use the key light to key out Justin and mask around him, adding a subtle feather and keyframing the mask path at the start and end of the timeline to move with him. While the background will be really dark and covered with a bunch of foreground elements, we still want to add some subtle information back there, so we'll drop in this image that we made in Midjourney and make it a 3D layer, push it far back and change the scale, position, and rotation to line it up how we like and to fill the frame throughout the camera movement. Now we'll add a tint effect to lower saturation, a curves to adjust the color to closer match Justin, and then another to really darken it but maintaining the black point to match our footage. Then we'll add a lens blur to knock it out of focus. The original shot has this very strong light source behind him, so we'll duplicate our background, solo it, and uncheck the effects for now. If we rotate it, we can see a section which will work well for the brighter area, so we'll realign this and bring it forward in 3D space a bit closer to Justin. We'll mask out this section, then unsolo and re-enable effects, changing the brightness and color to be a brighter, cooler tone, and set the blending mode to screen. For the atmosphere, we're going to be using the Smoke 4 and 5 assets from our Infinity Pack collection. For anyone who has our standalone smoke packs, these are also included, which speaking of our packs.
Hi,
I'm Ryan. I'm here to talk about our store Triune Digital, and boy do we have some deals for your tatas. So keep your arms, legs, and tatas inside the sale vehicle at all times, or you'll be sorry. Wow.
Pay attention.
I know you've heard of Triune Digital. Of course you have. You better f***ing know about our store. But if not, no big deal.
It is a big deal.
Triune Digital is a paradise for filmmakers of all kinds, from visual effects assets like the ones you'll see in this episode, such as our electric pack, dust pack, smoke pack, and a ton more, including a bunch of free assets. Free! Oh, but we don't stop there. We also have color grading LUTs for days, cinematic, horror, fantasy, film stock, 80s, 90s, and more. But we also have sound effects to spice up your life, everything from monster sounds to gun sound effects. We got it all. Oh, what's that? Do we have royalty-free music? Yep, we have that too, and plenty of it. Just look at these. Look at them. Wow, those sure are royalty-free, aren't they?
Of course they are. Do you think we're liars? I take that as a threat.
And if you're looking to cloth your naked tatas, be sure to jump over to our apparel as well. We have all kinds of spiffy looking stuff. And because I'm feeling giving, use the coupon code TATAS and you'll get 40% off all of our visual effects assets. So head over to triunedigital.com to get you some goodies.
We're gonna have a real f***ing problem.
But now we'll double click on one and scroll through to find a starting frame we like and set the in point. Then drop it into our comp beneath the Justin layer. Set the blending mode to screen, make it a 3D layer, and change scale, position, and rotation how we like. This plays a bit fast, so we'll change the time to slow it down quite a bit and check the frame blending twice to get a smooth interpolation for some nice slow motion. We'll still play around with placement until we're happy, then lower the opacity. We'll duplicate and move it to another area, changing the starting frame to vary the look. We used a few more duplicates, masking and feathering some areas for more detail and using a curves for contrast. In the original, there is a concentration of smoke around this bright section, so we'll use smoke 5 for these areas, doing the same process again, and then using a couple duplicates above the Justin layer placed on either side of him, masked and feathered to only cross over the sides of him slightly. Then one last version closest to camera for more parallax and low opacity, giving us this atmospheric look.
To say that the rest of the group is bored would be a gross understatement.
Now in the original shot, the actor is almost a silhouette, so we'll lower the brightness on Justin using a curves effect. To keep his face area a bit brighter though, we'll create an adjustment layer above and use a curves effect to brighten, and a mask over the face area with a high feather, and use the Justin layer as an alpha matte to keep the effect to just the face. For some bright edge lighting on his shoulders, we'll duplicate his footage layer and set the blending mode to add, change the curves effect to add a lot of brightness and contrast, and use a tint effect with a high value. We'll mask these areas where we want to keep the light and set the mask to intersect. Feather it and keyframe the mask path throughout the shot if needed. For the electricity, we're going to be using some of the slow motion assets from our electric pack. We'll drop one into the comp and set the blending mode to screen, then align it how we like in frame with a point connecting to Justin. We'll then do the same with multiple other assets placed around different areas of the frame. For the moment when we have that additional face light switch on, we're going to have another asset appear starting at that frame. You could make these 3D layers, but with their constant motion, it worked fine in this instance to just keyframe 2D positions with some, while others seem to naturally work well with no layer movement needed. What'd you do?
Nothing. Just keep going. And 3.
We want a couple of these strands placed behind him, but because we will be pre-comping all of the electricity together, we'll duplicate Justin and move up with the electricity layers and set the assets we want to be behind him to alpha matte using his duplicated layer. We'll now pre-compose all together as our electricity comp to add some effects. If you have any gaps, you can fill them using a solid composite effect set to black, change the layer back to screen, and we'll first use a tint, then a glow, and we're going to use Red Giant's optical glow to get some nice fall off. And lastly, Video Copilot's color vibrance to make it an electric blue color, changing the vibrance, brightness, and gamma to make it pop.
Why are you bringing that in here?
I'm just testing some things.
What are you doing?
The flash effect.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! What the f, Justin? Oh shit! It doesn't even make sense! Read the script! My asshole! My asshole! My asshole! My asshole!
Is your asshole okay?
Flash effect!
While the original looks like it doesn't have too much light interaction from the electricity onto his actual skin, we'll go for a more visible look by duplicating the shoulders layer and deleting the intersect mask. We'll draw new masks for different areas that we want light to appear, feather, and keyframe these masks. Then change the curves effect slightly, as well as using another to make it inherit some of the blue color. We lowered the tint to get some of that skin tone coming back through, and we also used another duplicate to focus smaller keyframed ellipse masks for contact points of most of the electric strands. The last key element in the original is all these particles moving through the shot. To do this, we're going to use our close-up particles dust asset again from the Infinity Pack collection, as well as our standalone dust pack, and we'll go through a similar process as before by setting endpoints to start at moments we like and dropping them into the comp. Starting with the ones going beneath Justin's layer for the background, setting to screen and using a curves effect for contrast. Then moving on to the foreground ones placed above Justin, sometimes masking out different areas or lowering opacity. There's a few warm particles in the original, so we'll use a lens blur to knock this layer out of focus, then a curves to increase brightness and make a warm color before masking and feathering. We use another duplicate with the mask on the opposite corner too. Then all of our particles combined look like this. To complete this, we're going to use an adjustment layer above with a glow. The original has a bit of a hazy, washed out look, which we'll try to match. Then another adjustment layer using Red Giant's chromatic aberration with low settings. Even though it isn't in the original, it can help with that slow motion look and ties in with some moments from the Justice League. We also decided to use a transform effect placed first to get a closer framing like the original, just changing scale, position, and rotation. And lastly, finished off with a grade to match. The final thing we ended up trying was slowing down the electric assets to half speed with frame blending enabled to fit more with the overall slowness of the shot, giving us this. But that's it for today. If you want to grab any of the assets that we used, we have our electric pack and the Infinity Pack and our smoke pack in the shelf below. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you're notified when we put up more content. Until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.
Flash effect!
God, dude. Nice penis, but the episode's done.